Velkommen til CEONOW. I dag har vi et podcast med professor Roberto Verganti, som vil fortælle os og indvie os i begrebet Design-Driven Innovation, baseret på hans observationer og specielt baseret på hans seneste bog, Overcrowded. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for taking your time. I'm sitting here with Professor Roberto Verganti, known from Design-Driven Innovation from his new book, Overcrowded. So welcome, Roberto.
Hi, Lars.
And I hope today that you'll enlighten for us what is this design-driven innovation and what it's all about.
Design-driven innovation is a powerful way to transform businesses and organizations. Technically, I will talk about technically and then more emotionally. Technically is a way of changing things, innovating products, innovating processes, not to make them better, but to make them more meaningful.
Yes.
What do I mean? Whenever there is something, you innovate something, you can do something better in the same direction. So you improve how you make things, but you don't change why people use it. And there is another way of innovating, that is you change direction, you change the reason why people use things. A very simple example, I mean, when Apple invented the iPhone,
Yes.
People laughed because it was very expensive and there was no keyboard. How can you write email and messages? And in reality, it's true. In terms of performance of typing on the keyboard, the iPhone was much worse than the BlackBerry or the Nokia sophisticated keyboard. So Nokia and BlackBerry were investing in more better keyboards to type. So it's a better innovation, always in the same direction. I'm searching for a better email machine. What Apple did, it went in a totally different direction. In terms of typing, worst. But it doesn't matter because they changed the why people buy a phone. And the problem is not to communicate, but to have your life in your pocket. This is what Steve Jobs said. This is not to communicate, it's your life in your pocket. So who cares about having a keyboard that is much faster if eventually you just take photos for yourself or for sharing that with others and you communicate through photos, not to keyboards. So sometimes we get stuck in making things better, improving innovation in a direction that doesn't make sense anymore. Instead, in our world, having your life in your pocket made much more sense.
Yeah.
So this is the more technical thing. So design-driven innovation is about making innovation that is not necessarily better, but it makes more sense. A better direction, a more meaningful direction, a more meaningful why. Emotionally, is the way to create things that people love. Because in reality, there is a lot of research that shows that people don't fall in love for things that are better. People fall in love for things that are more meaningful, that make more sense for them. So it's a way to create a better purpose in what you do with your company, because the meaning of things is the purpose, is why we do things. And it's a way to engage your organization and people in your organization much more, because engaging people in doing things that are technically better, but if they don't make any sense, okay, you can do it, you can have incentive, but if you have people work because you want to create a common purpose and change things and create things that make more sense, then is the best way to engage people in innovation.
Okay. And why should executives be concerned about that? And perhaps in specific more top executives?
Yep. Well, design-driven innovation is especially innovation from the perspective of leaders. Because when you search for better solutions, of course, this doesn't mean that you as a leader need to come out with a better way to make a faster keyboard or a battery that lasts longer. Then you need experts, technical expertise to do that. So solutions can come from everywhere. They don't require a leadership process and reflection to get there. But when you change direction, which basically means to have a new image, a new vision of where you want to go, that's, first of all, is a leadership process.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean the direction needs to come from you. Maybe the inspiration for the direction can come from everywhere in the organization. But in any case, it requires, as a leader, the capability to recognize that this new direction makes sense for me as a leader and for us as an organization. So whenever you change direction, whenever you do design-driven innovation, it's first of all a leadership process. It's the process of creating new visions.
Okay, so it's still also a part of a strategy to create new directions. But what kind of impact would it have when you want to change direction? Do you have any experience in what does it mean for top executives when they decide to change direction?
Well, it's the example I talked before about the iPhone versus Nokia. If you go back to the story, you realize that most of the ideas, the technical ideas, solutions that were in the iPhone, were already explored by Nokia. Nokia had the Office Store and Apple had the iTunes Store. Nokia had streaming on the phones and Apple had streaming on the phones. So all the ideas were already there and Nokia were already doing this. But one thing is to do all this technical solution in the direction of thinking that eventually I'm still selling a phone.
Yeah.
All the other directions that is say, I have the same idea, but I repackage them in the direction that I'm selling your life in your pocket. So the ideas are the same, but the vision is different. Well, what is the value of this simply different vision? Is the difference between the value of Apple today and the value of Nokia today.
Yes.
So that you can definitely measure technically the capability to see a new direction that is more meaningful, that is driven by design. How much difference, I mean, this of course is extreme, but really makes a difference of billion between the story of Nokia, where all the technicalities, all the solutions were there, but they didn't put them together in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking your time.